factoring. We got formats gonna give you the answering. Factoring isn't hard and it's not confusing. It's on your exam, so there's no refusing. Let's start off with simple expressions. Yes, we are 4 young Asians. You get in the form x squared plus bx plus c. That's a trinomial 1, 2, 3. Always look for a common factor. This is like our chain reactor. If there's a 1, it's much more easy. One less step, easy breezy. Find 2 numbers that multiply to c. These 2 numbers have to add to b. Factor by grouping with parentheses. Double check with FOIL unless you want penalties.
Now let's factor, now let's factor, now let's factor, now let's factor, and we'll teach you. Check with expanding, with expanding, with expanding, with expanding, and it's easy.
Let's move on to complex expressions. In this case, we need multiplication. This time we have a value in front of it. This represents a not too complex. Find 2 numbers that multiply to a times c. Think of the factors. This is key. These 2 numbers have to add to b. Follow these steps, you'll do well, guaranteed. Blow up b with the 2 factors. Factor by grouping, you'll get the answer. Remember what DJ Nets told us? Take your time, no need to rush. Check by expanding using FOIL. Remember these steps stored in your brain cells. There's no shortcuts in complex expressions. You remember this if you paid attention.
Now let's factor, now let's factor, now let's factor, now let's factor, and we'll teach you. Check with expanding, with expanding, with expanding, with expanding, and it's easy.
Now let's factor a difference of squares. It's not that hard, I don't want to see those tears. If you see a binomial with a minus in the middle, go through these 5 steps little by little. Make sure there are only 2 terms, a and b. This step is pretty easy. If possible, find the greatest common factor. Practice a lot and you'll get faster. First and second terms have to be perfect squares. Make sure there's a minus, then create parentheses pairs. Perfect square trinomials aren't that hard, just square a binomial that has 2 guards. Looking for a GCF is always required. Then square the first term if the answer is desired. Place the product of the 2 terms. Laws of factoring help you confirm. Last thing to do is square the last term. It's on your exam, remember it long term. There's a fast shortcut for both of these. If you understand the concept, then do it please. This is your boy Rick who killed this verse. We use the instrumental of the song The Worst. Rick, Nico, David, and Jude. Study for the exam or you'll be screwed.